It's a language presentation which you use in HTML.
It's a language presentation.
Yeah, which you use in HTML.
Okay. What is the view of the other people? Or what are the other people saying? No idea?
Repeat your question.
Or? You're saying? Gentlemen, who's talking?
Repeat your question.
I was saying, who is talking? Is it Kazambian or is it King?
It's me,
King or Galaxy or
Yeah.
Kazambian?
Kazambian.
Okay, my question was,
Kazambian, I said repeat your question.
the question was, what is CSS? Or what can you say about CSS?
All right.
Uh-huh. Yes, Kazambian, go ahead. Your floor is yours.
No, actually, that was my colleague, Tafi.
Okay. Now, people, okay, let's look at, okay, cool. Can you all see it? Can you see my screen, the presentation?
No. So it's still sharing.
You can just see your
It's
face.
still loading.
Okay, maybe it's still loading.
Yeah.
Okay, yes, I can see it now.
You're seeing it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So,
Yes, sir.
so as I said, today we're going to look at the CSS. CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheets. So what is this? What is CSS? So the CSS determines how the elements, it actually determines how elements in our HTML documents are displayed. Okay? So it is designed to separate the content of a web page from the presentation of what? Of that content. Okay? Which slide? So we're saying designed to separate the content of a web page from the presentation. With CSS, it enables us to make all pages. Okay, but don't class on. Class now. Okay. So basically, the CSS it just allows us. It determines how the edge, as you said here, the second bullet point. We are saying it helps us. It determines how the elements in the HTML documents are displayed. Okay. So remember, people, when you're designing a web page, first you go to the application that you're using. Like in this case, you are using Notepad++, right? And then once you are done coding or typing in the HTML code, different HTML code, or you are done designing a web page, okay? You put your text, tables, images, videos, even video files. So once you're done with that, you open this, or you open it using, or you tell the browser to open it with a certain browser, okay? So now this content, the contents are now the ones that are displayed by the web browser, right? So it does not, the browser does not actually display the HTML codes that you designed or that you created on this HTML document. So if you look at the second bullet point here, it says determines or designs to separate the content of the web page from the presentation of that content. Okay, so they separate the content of the web page from the presentation. Okay, so you have got what you have your content on the page, but now the design of your content on the page. So like things like font colors, things like font sizes, maybe you are applying certain alignments and so forth and so on. Okay, so you do that, you format your content actually. And then with CSS, this can be done like in a group. Like instead of doing the formatting like separately, one by one, like on each of the text that you put in the web page. So what the CSS does is it actually does a lot of things at the same time. But I'm going to show you, and we're going to look at an example, actually, basically what do we mean by all these points here. So it also enables us to make all pages of our web page look similar, right? So if you have got 5 different pages, web pages, right? And you want them to look them exactly the same. So what you do is you okay, let me just quickly ask you this. Are you going to do the pages, like to format these pages one by one? Or is it better to create CSS and then this code have all the impact or effects to all the pages? Which way is the best? Like you want these pages to have a background color blue, like you've got 5 pages. Are you going to insert codes, HTML codes for inserting a background color to each of the page, or you just have to create a CSS code and then it affects, or it have got effects all the pages? Because this bullet point says it enables us to make all pages of our website look similar and consistent. So it keeps consistency here. So which way, guys? Do you prefer having one code and then you run and then it affects all the 5 pages, or do you want to format or to edit each of those web pages individually? Which way is the best?
It's just to format so that the all pages can have
one at the same time with one code, right?
Yes.
Okay, so that's the power of CSS. Okay, and then it allows site-wide information changes from a single location. So basically, this bullet point in the number 4 is more or less the same. They talk the same thing. They say the same thing. Okay, so what you're saying here is it allows us to make site-wide formatting changes from a single location. So you just run your code and then it affects, or it will make changes to all the other web pages, okay? Rather than opening a single web page separately, like individually, and then you format or you do some changes to it. So with CSS, you can make it that such a way that whatever you do, it affects all the other pages, right? If you want that to be done in that way, okay? Rather than having, okay, this is what I have said. Rather than having to edit each page individually, right? So this can be done like once, and then it affects all the other pages. Okay, let's move on, guys. And we have got 3 types of CSS, right? We have got 3 types of cascading style sheets. Okay, people, when the time elapses, because this is just 40 minutes, I'll request another meeting ID and the password, and then I'll quickly put in the group. You just have to log in again, yeah? Great. Now we have got 3 types of cascading style sheets. We have got the inline cascading style sheet. We have got internal style sheets, and the last one is external style sheets. Okay. How many ways?
3.
Are they 3 or 4?
Three.
Yeah, 3.
Yeah, 3. Good. So I like asking that question in the exam or in the test. Yeah. So people now let's now everyone is awake, eh? Right now let's start with the inline style sheets, inline CSS, yeah? So this one is placed directly into the HTML element. So with inline style CSS, it's placed where? Into or directly into the HTML element. Okay. People, when you're designing a web page, for instance, if you go to the body tag, okay, we want to insert a paragraph. So what do? So you put the paragraph text, and then the opening tag and the closing tag, right? And then in the middle of the two tags, the opening and the closing tag, you put your paragraph, your different paragraphs. And then maybe you can insert also a break so that each of the lines starts after the other one. The second line should come in the second line, and so forth and so on. Okay. So with the inline style sheets, we have got only 10 minutes people left. So once the 10 minutes are up, I'll request another ID, and yes, I'll post it on the group quickly, yeah, so that you can log in and come back. Because I just received a warning here that we are left with 10 minutes. Okay, so with the inline style sheet, inline CSS, we see CSS are placed directly into the HTML element or document element. Yes. So I'll show you this, guys. I think when you do it practically, that's when you'll understand it better, right? Okay. And then the internal style sheets, the CSS is placed into a separate area. It's placed into a separate area within the header section of the web page. Okay. So your codes, your HTML codes are placed in the header section, okay, of the document. You see, this one we said is they're placed directly in the HTML element, and these ones, the internal style sheets or CSS, it's placed within the header section. Okay. Now, so if you place them in the header section, then that entire page, whatever changes you do, it will affect everything. Let's say if you have got a table, and this table you want it to have, you have got different tables. Let me just stick to text. If you have got text within it, within the page, and you want this text or this text or this paragraph to be have a background color of a certain color, and then they should be center aligned. So if you place all those HTML text in the head section, the header section, then it will affect everything in the body. That is the power of internal style sheets or internal CSS. Okay, and then moving on with the external one. So these names are just self-explanatory. This one is external style sheets. The CSS is placed into a separate computer file and connected to a web page, right? So what you do is you create a separate file. All right, you create a separate file and then you save it. So whatever code you are having or that you are placing in that file, they will affect all the other web pages, right? So the codes are separate, they are external, they are coming from someone, right? So they are saved, you have saved a different file, and that's where you are running them, and then the effect changes to a certain number of web pages that you have created. Okay, so this one is an external. So you create a separate file, save it. Okay, but if you run those code, they will affect or they will make changes. They will make change to a certain to your web pages that you are having. Okay. Okay. But for our the second one, which is the internal CSS, right? Okay. Any question? Comment?
No.
Okay.
But this, me, I've got a comment.
Go ahead.
It would be better. It would be better just saying like inline style, the way it works, internal style, the way it works, also external, we see it physically. That would be easy our understanding than just say it like this.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We are going to do like a picture.
Okay.
Or is that what you say?
Mr. Cliff, if affect let me say for an example a paragraph.
Yes.
Right? It will only affect the paragraph but not the rest of the whole page.
Yes, exactly.
Yes, but
so
if you've got the internal one, then it can affect everything. Yes, unless maybe you can also specify. That's why it's still basic.
Okay, I'll show you that.
And and internal.
Internal, it's placed in the header section. You know where the header section is?
Yes.
Yes. So your inline, your internal CSS, it should be placed in the header section. Okay? You read here. If you look at this bullet point here, the second one says CSS, it's placed into a within what? The header section of the web page. Okay? So this codes are placed in between the header section. So the opening tag and the closing tag. But now this the inline ones are placed. Okay, can you quickly do an example here just to show you?
Yeah, please.
Yes, sir.
But now we are left with only 3 minutes. Let's just quickly finish this, and then the next, the second lesson, we are going to look at an example. Let's just go through this explanation here. And then I'll also show you how the syntax, like how they are being coded. Okay. Cascading, I think this is not that much important. Okay, so we have got 3 of them here: the internal, inline, external, and external. Okay, Clef. Now this is an example of inline. This is an example of inlines inline CSS, right? So what you do is, this is a paragraph, not a paragraph, but it's a heading, right? It's a heading. Okay. Yes. Now this is an opening tag. An opening tag, and then you want to change the font style or the font family to Georgia, and the color should be red. Okay, can you see that it's just placed right after the element? I mean before, and then you close the tag here, and then this is the text. It's displayed like that when you open it, when you run it using the browser. Okay, so this is just like the symbol, the basic. Okay, now looking at the what? Let's look at the internal style sheets now. Internal. So what you do is you go to the header section. The first thing that you need to know is that it should be within the header section, the opening tag of the header section and the closing tag. Can you see the header section, and then it's closed here, right? So now you have got the style. Okay, but this is what you do. So it's going to be applied whatever you're changing here. But first you need to have this in the body tag. Okay, it should be the body tag, and then it's the heading is going to be changed. The font color is going to be Georgia. The font family is Georgia, and the color is going to be red. Okay, now let's say maybe if you want to add something again, you want it to be centered. Okay, so you say you go on and say okay, but let us just go to the syntax, like how they are being declared, like how you need to insert them, right? There's another slide that explains that. Oh, well, okay. So you open it, you open the style, and then you close it, and it should be within the header section. That's very, very important. Not within the body, like the inline one, inline CSS, okay? So this one is just within the HTML elements. But with inline or the internal CSS, it's within the body, the header section. Okay, so let's move on. The external one, I say this one is more advanced. Yeah. So, but what you need to know is that just the basic, that with external CSS, you have to create a separate file, and you run the code from there, and then they affect the pages, the web pages that you have created, right? Good. Now this is how you declare. I mean, how you the syntax